Hello everybody, I am Gareth here from What's Culture Wrestling, bringing you yet another edition of Solo Sunday News with me, myself, on my own, in my bedroom. You should know this by now, this is just what we do. So the first story we're going to talk about today it's actually quite a sad one, to be honest, because Jimmy Rave, who's a former Ring of Honor and Impact star, you may know this already, he's had to announce his retirement. He did this on Twitter, he put a big statement that we're gonna read off for you now. And yeah, I'll read off the statement, then we'll go into a bit more detail about it. So this is what he said. He said, "I have been very blessed for the last 21 years in professional wrestling and getting to live out my dream. And today that dream has ended for me and I have a new reality. This past Tuesday, my world came crashing down when doctors found an infection in my left arm. I tried toughing it out, but by the time I saw a doctor, it was too late and they had to amputate my left arm above the elbow, thus effectively ending my in-ring career. I appreciate everyone who has supported me or anyone who has pegged me with a roll of toilet paper. To my brothers and sisters I have shared the ring with or a locker room, thank you for always pushing me to be better. Thank you to all of my mentors and my students who allow me to still feel needed. This was the hardest thing I have ever had to type. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to DM me. Please take your health much more seriously than I did. I am sorry for anyone I have let down. Support pro wrestling, Jimmy Rave." I don't think he's let anybody down there. I'm just going to say that straight away. This is just a really tragic thing. And obviously, just to reiterate there, he's had to retire from doing the thing that he loves because he's had to have his left arm amputated from above the elbow. So it's just really sad, to be honest. Hopefully he can find a place in wrestling. He can be used in a different capacity going forward. Just to read off a few of the things he's achieved in his career. He was trained by Murder One and made his wrestling debut in 1999. He debuted in Ring of Honor in 2003, and with the promotion he won the Trios tournament in 2006 with Alex Shelley and Abyss. So some pretty big names there. And after he left Ring of Honor in 2007, he went to TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call it, and he tagged with AEW star Lance Archer. And during his time with TNA, they were known as the Rock and Rave Infection, and Christy Hemme was also involved in that group. And then, in terms of his accolades, his championships, he was the first ever Great Championship Wrestling Champion. He also held several titles, such as the CZW Iron Man Championship, NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship, and the NWA Wild Side Junior Heavyweight Championship. So, yet again, I want to reiterate, we wish you all the best, Jimmy Rave. Hopefully the wrestling world can offer you something new. There's a new avenue for you to go down. It's an upsetting story, but yeah, hopefully there's a bright side to this, there's a silver lining to this situation. Okay, on to our next news, and you may have noticed there was a little old pay-per-view last weekend which was known as Survivor Series, and at this pay-per-view we had all that weird brand supremacy, just battling Raw versus SmackDown stuff that absolutely had no effect really on this week's Raw or SmackDown. It's like it pretty much never happened. But the biggest thing, I think, the biggest takeaway coming out of that show was The Undertaker's final farewell. And now we have a bit of background information, behind the scenes information, you want to call it that, about a bit of an invite-only gathering, let's call it, between The Undertaker and a few of his pals. The Godfather was the person who just dropped all this information during a conversation he had with Sports Illustrated, and he said that there was a bit of a gathering. There wasn't a lot of food at this gathering, it was mostly just whiskey and beer, and the people who attended it were pretty much people from the Bone Street crew. That's a weird mouthful for some reason. So they were the likes of Savio Vega, Rikishi, Henry and Phineas Godwin, and then a few of Undertaker's close friends like Booker T and longtime WWE official Tim White were also there as well. So they all sat around, told stories, they laughed, they cried, they hugged. It was just a lovely, sounds like a really nice get-together of legends, to be honest. And this is what the Godfather had to say about it. He said, "For that one night, the past came back to life. If you didn't know any better, it felt like it was 20 years ago. We told stories, we hugged, we cried, and we put Timmy White to bed, just like we used to back in the day." And then he started just talking about the plans that WWE had for The Undertaker coming into this 34th annual Survivor Series. And he said, "When WWE invited me to the Survivor Series tribute for Mark, I texted him right away and said, let's do a BSK reunion. We paid homage to Mark Calloway and the phenom that he created with The Undertaker." This is really sweet, to be honest. If you've seen the picture that he posted on Instagram, The Godfather, it's got everyone together. and they're all looking really happy and just like, yeah, let's celebrate our friend. And talking about that, he just said Mark is honest, he respects the business, and he never forgets about his friends. He changed the business, especially for big men. He's one of a kind. All of us that could be there on Saturday were there, and we had a hell of a night. I'll remember it forever. And to be honest, this WWE tributes sometimes are a bit hit and miss. Like, some are really great, some are a bit forgettable, and you just want to move on. But this one, I thought, did everything it needed to do. You had The Undertaker coming out doing his long, big, epic celebration with loads of added fire and sparks and the weird electrical version of his theme tune at the start, which was a bit surreal, but I dug it. I thought it was quite good. And you had everybody, all of his friends and legends all coming out to the ring and just not really doing much, just standing there like clapping at the next person coming out. It was what it was, but I thought it was the sort of tribute that was deserving of somebody so epic, so larger than life, so important to the company. So yeah, big celebrations all around for Matt Calloway. Okay, now we've spent a bit of time talking about the nostalgic past and all the things that used to be so great about WWE. Let's talk about the current product, because a lot of information has been circling around the internet about how this most recent episode of Friday Night SmackDown was a bit of a mess, and now we've had a bit more information to confirm that it was, yeah, just that. So, obviously SmackDown didn't really advertise any matches before this week, so the likes of me and Phil were sat there on Friday night thinking, well, what are we going to talk about, because it doesn't look like anything's planned. And now it's been confirmed that yes, it was a mess. This is all according to a report in F4W Online's daily update. They said that Vince McMahon didn't arrive until about 12:30 PM, and nobody knew what was going to go on with the show, thus why these matches were announced very, very late in the day. The report also noted that most people didn't really have a clue what was going to go down on the show until McMahon showed up, and that's been something that's been pretty consistent over the last couple of weeks, and it's considered nothing new, which is quite depressing, because can you imagine just showing up at like 10 o'clock or something, being like, right, what's going on today? It's just waiting around for a couple of hours until the boss gets here. We've only got a show, a live show in a couple of hours. Also, a report from Ringside News said that a lot was changed, but less than usual. So some weeks, apparently, Vince McMahon's just turned up and ripped up the script and said, no, we've just got to start from scratch. And that's why some episodes have felt a bit thrown together. This one, there were times when it felt a little bit thrown together, but I thought for the most part, the big heavy hitters, let's say, of the show, the big main event angles, worked a treat. And I think that's really interesting, because according to this kind of report, or these numerous reports, some of the more notable changes to the show involved those Roman Reigns segments and the finish to the Daniel Bryan-Sami Zayn match, which was obviously this big count-out finish, and Daniel Bryan got attacked by Jey Uso, and then Kevin Owens was like, oh, don't attack Daniel Bryan, I'm going to go and attack you in our match. And that big thing that got set up was all last minute, so I don't know how to feel about that. If that was a last minute change, it was a good one, but you'd like to see a bit more planning and preparation, wouldn't you? And speaking of last night's SmackDown, we've got to talk about the ratings, because that's what we do. On a Sunday, we talk about ratings, and, well, they went down. There's no sugarcoating this, they went down, but a lot of this has been attributed to the fact that it was Thanksgiving holiday weekend, so people were watching other things, there were movies on, everyone's eating turkey. It is what it is. So, Friday Night SmackDown drew an average of 1.987 million viewers overnight, and that's according to Showbuzz Daily. Hour 1 drew 2.016 million viewers, then Hour 2 went down to 1.957 million. So that's a shame, because a lot of people there must have missed out on that epic Kevin Owens, can you call it a promo? Yeah, the post-match beatdown promo thing, where he was like staring into the camera like, Roman, hey, I'm head of the table now, where are you, man? Come and fight me. And he also cut a really cool promo on Talking Smack with Paul Heyman, so go and check that out on Twitter. I think I retweeted that on my Twitter, so go and check it out. SmackDown drew an average of 0.55 in the 18 to 49 demographic, the ever-important demographic, and that was number 3 on the night. And do you want to know what beat SmackDown on this Friday night? I will tell you. So, How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Minions Holiday Special tied for the top spot with 0.7 in the same demo. So, 18 to 49-year-olds would sooner watch The Grinch and Minions than Friday Night SmackDown. That's depressing. Also, a bit more information about Friday Night SmackDown last night. Like I mentioned, Kevin Owens absolutely battered Jey Uso in the conclusion of SmackDown. But earlier in the night, Jey Uso attacked Otis because he was trying to prove to Roman Reigns, or he was trying to make people respect him and Roman Reigns. So he started targeting the people who were in his Survivor Series team and the people that he'd clashed with over the last couple of weeks, so he went straight after Otis, and it was really upsetting because I love Otis. But now WWE have released a storyline injury update about this attack on Otis and then Jey Uso's comeuppance, if you want to call it that. His comeuppance at the end of the night. This was all through WWE Digital, and they released this statement, so I'm just gonna read it out loud. So, following Friday Night SmackDown, WWE Digital has learned the status of two Blue Brand superstars. Otis was evaluated by WWE Medical following Jey Uso's attack. The evaluation revealed multiple areas of contusions and tenderness of the muscles throughout the thoracic spine region. Examination of the bony regions of the thoracic spine and ribs did not reveal any abnormalities. That sounds very, I don't know, not graphic, but very detailed, and it's definitely making me look at chair shots very differently. I've never had that kind of, explicit detail about a chair shot injury that's put somebody out, potentially, through storyline. I digress. So, Jey Uso was also sent to the trainer's room following his match with Kevin Owens, and the ringside physician's evaluation revealed bilateral upper extremity weakness as a result of stretching of the lower cervical nerve roots from the chair strikes. The belief is that this weakness is temporary and should resolve over the next few days. Again, is this WWE's way of making things that in the past would just be like shaken off, like the little bumps, not little bumps, getting hit by a chair is what it is, but it's adding a bit more detail, making things feel more dramatic, that yes, we'll use all this technical terminology, his thoracic spine may be in danger from these chair shots, and to be honest, it's working. I'm worried about my Otis. Not so much Jey Uso, because you get what you get, man. I mean, I know you're being manipulated and bullied by Roman Reigns, but when you hit my Otis, you get what you deserve. And lastly, our last story, obviously, because I just said lastly, is something to do with the little Bret Hart, Bret the Hitman Hart. So, obviously, years ago now, we're talking, I don't want to say decades, because that makes me feel really old, but I think it is pretty much decades. Bret Hart showed up on The Simpsons. He was the person who, I think he bought Mr. Burns' mansion, something like that. Yeah, I think I remember rightly. So it was a big deal when it happened. But we've got a bit more information now. The Hitman has spoken on his Confessions of a Hitman paid video collection thing that he's got on his website. And yeah, he was talking about his appearance on The Simpsons. So he said initially he was going to play a Mad Viking character and not himself. So straight away, that's something that I really wish I would have seen, because that probably would have been hilarious. Probably wouldn't have known it was Bret Hart, to be fair, until you saw the credits roll, but that would have been really cool. But apparently Bret Hart wanted to play himself, but he was told by the Simpsons producers, people, that nope, you can take it or leave it. So these are his comments. These are exactly what he said. There's a lot of these, so I'm just going to try and rifle through them. He said, I think the funny story about the Simpsons cartoon is they initially were not going to draw me in it as me, but I had just lost the title to Shawn Michaels at the Iron Man match in Anaheim. This is maybe a week or two later. They flew me in. I was just going to be the Mad Viking or something like that. I was going to be some other wrestling persona that was made up, a fictional one. I tried really hard to get them to draw me in as myself. They said, it's just the part for Mad Viking, take it or leave it. And I said, okay, I'll still take it. It'll be fun to go to LA and do the voice for the Mad Viking. But anyway, I did the whole thing in about 5 minutes. So there you go, Bret Hart's just being a good sport, being a professional. He didn't want to play the Mad Viking, he wanted to play Bret Hart, but he went in there, he did his job, and then things took a bit of a turn, because he was sat, like, in the waiting area. His limo driver had apparently driven off to go and get some gas, and everyone came out and started, like, asking for him to sign toys and t-shirts and everything else, and because Bret Hart's a good sport, he was like, yeah, I got some time to kill, let's do this, let's sign some stuff. So in his own words, he said that his limo driver had driven off, he'd gone to get gas, so I got stuck there for about half an hour because I got done so quick. So all these workers that were working at Fox Studios came out of the woodwork. I'm talking over 100 people came out, and they had like programs and pictures and figures, so I just signed. I had nowhere to go, so I just signed all their stuff. I remember when I was sitting there, after I'd signed for maybe 30 to 40 minutes, I remember the guy who was the director of my episode came up to me and he goes, I had no idea you were this big of a star. If it's okay with you, we're going to draw you in as yourself now, because we had no idea. So the people that brought Bret the Hitman Hart into The Simpsons had no idea that they were dealing with Bret the Hitman Hart, which is a travesty. I'm not impressed by that. But it all worked out in the end, because he did get drawn up as Bret Hart in that iconic moment from The Simpsons. But if you're wondering why his voice sounded a little bit different, he still sounded like Bret Hart, but he was quite, let's say, over the top as a character. He said he did all the lines and everything as the Mad Viking. That's why people sometimes hear it and say, that's not Bret Hart, it doesn't sound like him. Yeah, I was supposed to be doing the Mad Viking, so I wasn't supposed to be Bret Hart, so I was trying to have a different voice a little bit. But it's me. Again, they didn't change anything except for the artwork. I think Hitman was better than the Mad Viking anyway. So, hard to argue with that. I think the Hitman is definitely a lot better than the Mad Viking that never existed. It boggles my mind that they brought Bret Hart in, of all people, in the world of wrestling, and didn't understand that he was the dude, he was the guy, he was the top brass, not top brass, is that the right phrase, right? He was just the dude, you know what I mean? Like, he was Bret the Hitman Hart, and they didn't give him the respect he deserved, but once he did the right thing, he was being a good person, he got his appearance as Bret Hart, and it went on to be one of the most, let's say, fondly remembered cameos that a wrestler's ever made on The Simpsons. And to be honest, I bet Bret Hart's very happy that his limo driver didn't pick up gas beforehand. So they have been our news stories for Solo Sunday with me, Gareth from What Culture Wrestling. Let me know what you think of all these stories in the comment section below. And do not forget to go and follow all of us on Twitter at WhatCultureWWB. Follow myself at GMorgan04. Go onto the website, go onto whatculture.com, find loads of incredible articles to go and read on there. There's some good ones, trust me, I'm not just saying that because I work here. They're really good. You want to go and check them out. In the meantime, it's Sunday. Chill out, do whatever you like on this day because this is your day. You've earned it, you've had a hell of a week, you've kicked some serious ass, and I will see you very, very soon.